vacation.
She's on vacation.
Krista? Say something, but it doesn't matter. At least it's turning on.
What is it not supposed to?
That's an extra thing you got there.
Yeah. I'm surprised at the number of people that are here on a late, well, I guess mid-June.
Okay, we good? Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. First thing is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion to approve our agenda for the evening?
I so move.
And a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, agenda is approved. Next is the approval of the minutes for the June 3rd, 2026 meeting, and there are a couple of typos in there. Starting on page 9 of our packet, action items, subparagraph B, says Dr. Rutkowski as about duplicate payments. I think that's supposed to be asked.
Oh,
Okay. And then on page 10, there's a couple there. In the fourth line at the top, presented to the board May 6, 2026, included is misspelled.
Yes.
And then in the last bullet there, my last name is misspelled. So,
Not my best choice.
well, there you go. You're just testing us, so. Okay. With those corrections, I'll move that we approve the minutes for June 3rd, 2026 board meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. All right, next up is the informational report, starting with summary of current events. Dr. J.
Well, Dr. Kelsey, members of the board and guests, I will keep it short tonight as it's summer, but being my last board meeting, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has been a part of the team and has really helped us, move our district into a good place. So, want to thank our students. That is something that I will miss, is talking with them and hearing about their sports events and all the great things they accomplish. But I want to thank the board as well. I've shared with anyone who will listen that we have the most professional, hardworking, collaborative board, and you guys should get a ton of credit for that. So I couldn't be more thankful, and I'm really excited for Ms. Reichler coming in because she's got a supportive board, and that makes a huge difference in this role. So thank you to you all for all you do. I want to thank all the teachers for their hard work. They know, I know I can be at times a little challenging on, it's got to be this way, and we got to get this done, and BT and all the key phrases, but they have always stepped up and have really, allowed me to lead and have supported my ideas, and I'll always be grateful to them for that, and all the staff for they do. We've got a wonderful district staff up in the office. I talk a lot about harmony up there, and we have great harmony. Everyone works hard, and they get along well, and that's so important for the district when you have a great team like that. I want to thank our volunteers. We got Craig here tonight, Todd Harris. I mean, there's so many. Sean's here. She was PTO president. She was the first one I talked to, actually, when I got the job, if you remember that. There's just so many volunteers in the community that step up, even after their kids have moved on and continue to work for us, which is great. And then special thanks to the community, because across the board from all levels of our community, they're very supportive of us and the school district. So as I wrap up in education, I will miss all that, but I will be available, and I'm excited to work the wrestling events next year and the basketball events, and help our new athletic director with the things he's going to need to do. So even though I won't be here on a daily basis, I'll be inspired by Craig and Todd and people like that to always give back. So I will always answer when you need me, but I just want to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity and being so supportive over the years. So thank you.
Thank you. Next up is governing board comments, reports. Bernie, would you like to start with you?
Well, I did attend another terrific training session in Flagstaff. It was nice going up there. It was like 110 down here and 75 up there. So that was not bad. But I figured, since this is your last meeting, I figured you're a true Falcon. So, of course, I went through to figure out what the letters mean. So Falcon is facing challenges head on, aimed at improving the educational environment, laser focused on student achievement, coaching for collaborative team building, obsessed with change for improvement, and naturally passionate about professionalism. Now, in light of that, I tried ChatGPT, and they came out a little bit different, but it's similar. Focus, staying committed to your goals and avoiding distractions. Ambition, striving for growth and aiming high. Leadership, taking the initiative, inspire others through your actions. Confidence, believe in your abilities and potential. Optimism, maintain a positive outlook during challenging times, and never give up. Persistence through obstacles and overcoming setbacks. So pretty good balance there. Thank you.
Kim?
I did not use ChatGPT to help me, but I did put my notes in my phone here. So I just want to read what I wrote up here. So I just want to really take a moment just to express my appreciation for the leadership that Dr. J has given our district when he stepped into the superintendent position after our district had been failed and broken by former leadership. Dr. J's leadership has had so many positive changes, and he's brought those through his leadership to fruition in our district. Fountain Hills Unified School District has implemented and expanded participation in our Fountain Hills University and ASU partnership. And this means, along with the AP Capstone initiative, that our Fountain Hills graduates can graduate with up to 2 years of college credit completed. Dr. J's leadership and the teachers and staff hard work also shines through with the continued implementation and marketing of the Innovate 21 at Fountain Hills Middle School. And then they recently brought it to the elementary school, which is called Innovate 21 Junior. I am a parent of an Innovate 21 student, and I've seen the gains that my child has made being in those programs. So it's really been great to see that from a parent point of view. These programs have proven something that Dr. J shared with me in one of our first few meetings together. And he even showed me a chart and a few articles around it and everything else. And it's something I truly believe in as well. So it's something we found common ground on quite early in our professional relationship together here. And that is that if you challenge students academically, they will rise to the occasion. Dr. J has also designed an accelerated math program recently so that all students in grades 6 through 8 can complete Algebra 1 by the end of 8th grade. So that possibility is now there for our students in this upcoming year. In addition, he's set the path for a science pathway, which is, I believe you're calling the advanced middle school program. And that's going to prepare students for high school level student science courses even earlier than we were before. So I think that these bold steps and innovative steps that Dr. J's leadership has really opened doors for many of the children in our district. In addition, Dr. J has kept focus on improving student proficiency and gaining A ratings for our schools and our school district. He's ensured that our principals lead annual data digs, where teachers are learning and digging through the data and understanding where each student is and how they can help them learn, increase their proficiency, and increase their success academically. Last but not least, I also want to call out that Dr. J has listened to our community, and he's helped our board place 2 properties up for sale so that the proceeds can be used to help support our district. In addition, he's led the charge where we have cut over $2 million out of our budget over the last 2 years, while still somehow managing to maintain good class sizes and keep a stronger academic focus. So I want to thank you, Dr. J. You have turned our district around, and you will be missed.
Fran, would you like to go next?
So, Dr. J, I have seen you go from being a history teacher and a basketball coach in Scottsdale Unified School District many years ago to coming over here and being a principal, and then I was super excited to find out that you're going to be superintendent, mostly because you're a community member, means you care about this community, your kids go to these schools, and you're just passionate about that. I cannot tell you how impressed I was that you brought schools that were in a C rating up to an A rating, and you did that really quickly. And as an educator, I know how hard that is to do. You have to be the leader to get your teachers to do what they need to do, and then the teachers have to be able to motivate those students to get them to where they need to be. And I think that you've included quite a bit of extra time for the kids to be able to review and get through the material that they need to get through and really understand it. And I think that that's shown. You were one of the reasons why I chose to be on the board, because one wants to be able to have a superintendent that you can trust, and that's going to do what needs to be done in order to have your schools be successful. So I was really sad to find out that you were retiring. But I'm sure that Val will, take your lead and everything that you've started, and she will continue that on because she also is a community member. So I love that as well. So I am sad to see you go, but super impressed with all that you've done for this district. Your community loves you. You're very transparent to them, and as has said before, you really listen to your community, and I think that that's important. So thank you.
Pauline?
Okay, Dr. J. I started slightly after you did, and the first thing I want to say is thank you to the former board for hiring you and for giving you the extended contract, because it gave us several years for you to be here to do all the wonderful things that everybody's already mentioned. As an educator, I've worked with many superintendents. Not all superintendents are out there like you are, in the community, in the schools. The students know you and your dog. And it's just been incredible to work with you. I know we started out with a rough patch for a while, but you never wavered. You continued plodding on, and you were making sure that everything was going in the right direction in the school district, and it is. So I'm sad to see you go, but you'll be around, and I think that's the important thing. And one of the things I've always said is we need people who are invested in the community, and I feel good that Val's going to continue on because she is also. And as people who have worked with all kinds of superintendents, and they come in from somewhere else, and we've seen what happened in our own district. So I'm really glad that you've been here. It's been a pleasure to come to all your coffees and to work with you. It's always easy to get a hold of you. You get a hold of us, so we always know what's going on, and that is very important. And I'm really thankful for the board that we have now, because it's really nice to have good discussions, listen to each other, and work together. We will miss you.
So are you blushing yet?
He wants the air up.
Yeah, okay.
He's a little red.
So I'll start out by echoing what the other board members have said. I certainly agree and totally with all the compliments and the observations. What I appreciate, we've known each other for several years when my wife was on the board, and since I've been on the board. I appreciate the collaboration, working together, the friendship. It's been my privilege and my pleasure to work with you and be part of this district and to work with you. So congratulations on an excellent career. And if anybody asks what the definition of an excellent superintendent is, I think we see it right there, honestly. You've done a fantastic job. And good luck with your future career. Thank you.
I appreciate it. And like I said, you guys have been awesome. So this is so good for our community. We have such a great board and great staff. And I've spent a month with Val, and you guys are great hands. She's going to be great.
Thank you for doing that, too.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, now on to more mundane things, I guess. Starting out with reports and the Facilities Committee. Bernie, I think that's yours.
Yeah, I'll give a quick background. So,
Okay.
Dr. Gus, members of the board, guests, we put together this year, we've been talking about this for a while, but really cemented it as a board committee, the Facilities Committee, to look at our needs now, our needs in the future, and although we have a lot of work to do, the last 4 years we've made such tremendous growth with our facilities. Almost the entire interior of the district's been painted by one person pretty much, which is, he needs to be recognized again at some point. But just all aspects, we have land sale money coming in, we need to be really smart on how we use that. Looking at large infrastructure like the HVAC systems, the roofs, and this is right up Bernie's alley. So as you know, I let him kind of run this committee because who better to do it than him? He is very passionate about this. So we met for a period of time throughout the year. Some members are here today in the crowd that have been part of that committee, and he's put together a comprehensive document for the district to follow as we move forward, and I hope this facility committee continues into next year because we have a lot of work to do. So thank you, Bernie, for all the work you've done on this, and it's all yours tonight.
Anybody wants to take a look at some of the notes? Some of them are there. We've had plenty of opportunity to get together formally. Minutes have been published on our website. This is an interim plan. This is more of a documentation of where we are today across the district. And the next part is going to be the hard part, and that's planning out for the next 5 to 10 years and where we're going. So I'll give basically a summary. I'm not going to go over all the details that are in here because we do have detailed maps. We have descriptions of things where they're at. But you get an idea of it when I go through this way. So it's been a learning experience. There are so many different aspects of the facilities and the land and everything else that has to do with the district. Size doesn't matter. The complexities are there. We need to right-size the district. We have excess capacity. So that is a drain on the budget and on everything else that we do, on manpower and all that. The next part of it were updates and savings. So as we go through and look at what we're doing with the property and the sales, then we're going to have to look at what are we doing. We were doing maintenance, I call it a break fix. Something breaks, you go fix it. We weren't doing preventive maintenance, and it takes an effort to plan it out. So that's what is going to be the next part of this. So part of the learning experience, and I think everybody on the board knows this, there are so many different rules and regulations that cover some of the things we want to do. The sales of property, sales of property within the facilities. Anyway, it's just a complex arena. So every time we want to do something, we're going back and checking what the guidance is, what the criteria is, so that we can do it properly. And then the capture all of it is down on the bottom, and that's why it's in red. The uniform system of financial records. That's keeping track of everything that we're trying to do. I've gone through that manual several times, and I'm glad we got two experts in the audience here because I don't get a grip on that one, that's for sure. So everything is spelled out in detail. Now, this is one of the key charts, and this is right-sizing the district. And this has been published by the state, but I also think a couple other places have copied it too. It's that the facilities, the capital, all the expenses that you have as you downsize, it's tremendous. And you can't get rid of it or get it off the books in a hurry. It takes you time. It takes time for the facility to sit actually vacant for a period of time before you can put anybody else in it. You can start leasing it, but you can't sell it right away. And when you do go in for sales, like we're finding out, that started almost 2 years ago. The idea was brought to fruition, then it went on the market, and now it sounds like we're probably going to close in November or December of this year. So that's at least 2 properties that are vacant that'll be able to get us some capital investment money. And that's not the end of the story. That's sort of the beginning of the next part, because we have plenty of things to map out against that capital. So the tail really hangs on there for a while. Now, work in progress. I mentioned the land sale, that's Hawk and Aspen. I've got the maps on here. A lot of times people ask, where is that? Okay, we got pictures of it. The preschool relocation, that's well on its way. We've moved some equipment. There's some mods to Dow Mountain Elementary School that need to be made. So it is moving along. As a follow-on to moving the preschool, then we need to do something with the facility. Otherwise, we'd have another one sitting there that we're paying that's vacant, that we have to maintain it, pay insurance, and upkeep the landscape and everything else. Well, we do have a lease, and as far as I know, it's been completed. And Behavior Alley will be moving in before the summer is over, and they work with children. And that's what we like about it. It's in a housing area where the school is. It's helping kids, and it fits all the criteria. So we are extremely happy that that has been completed. We still have a half a facility that we can lease out. So if you have any ideas, let me know, and we'll work on it. The next one was, and that's about the elementary. Now, the demolition of Four Peaks, that still takes a bit of time to happen. We've talked about it probably for about 2 years again also, and we've taken tours through the building. We've had realtors go through it. We've had developers go through it. We've had other folks take a tour of the building. We've had the town go through it numerous times. There are plenty of issues to modify it and use it. Plumbing, electrical, possibly some asbestos. So there's lots of different aspects where it's not economical to try and get it back into shape for people to occupy it. So the group decided that demolition is the way to go. We're working on that. Todd Harris is putting together a contract. We're going to go out with an RFP. We've talked to the town about abatement and talking to them about easement and utilities. We'll retain with the town. So it's a partnership that we need to do. Even though it's in the district and on our property, we still need to work with the town on getting things done. And that's what we're doing.
And we do have, I believe, full approval for demolition now from the school facility board.
Yes. Okay. The follow-on to that has been the Fayette leasing, Four Peaks land disposition. So those two are still TBDs. What else can we put into Fayette? And then what are we going to do with the land after the building is demolished? There's two ways that we're talking about, whether it goes down to the slab or if it goes down back to Mother Earth. There's lots of considerations on how much we do on the demolition and what it's going to be left as when we're finished with it. And then what would the neighborhood like to see? They've already told us some things they don't want to see. So we've addressed that, but we'll try and find out what we can do with it. Again, I've been in conversations with the town manager, with Parks and Recs, with other possibilities because it is next to Four Peaks Park. And it's next to some pickleball courts, and it's next to the Boys and Girls Club. So there's lots of things with combined interests that maybe we'll be able to get something to go on that property. We've also had a developer want to put some houses in there. So that's still a TBD. El Lago, vacant land, it's going to be in reserve. We're sitting it out there, and it's, as far as we're planning right now, we're not going to do anything with the near future in that one. State trust land is up against the McDowell Mountain Elementary School. It's there if we need it, but there's some disadvantages if we have to build on it and use it. So it's there and available if needed. And then finally, working on the capital expenditure prioritization as we get the funds in from the property sales. This is another key chart showing that where our expenses are going. And the key number right now from the county is that we spend at least 60% in the classroom. We hit it. So we're at 60% of spending for classroom expenses. That includes teacher salaries, supplies, equipment, and that sort of thing for the classroom environment. So we're doing well on that one. One area that doesn't look too bad when you look at the number, the percentage on transportation, it's a small number, and it's really a hard one to bring down if you're looking at reducing and coming up with economies of scale because of the amount of driving and travel that the school buses make for the number of students we have. I think we have the highest cost per student for riding on a bus of anybody in the state just because of the distances. They cut back on the routes. They've combined grid levels. So they're doing lots of things that they can, but it's still the total distance that we're doing on that one. But it's looking good. The last couple of years has been a terrific effort to keep balance on the budget.
Yeah, I'd like to see the plant operations go down a little bit, but that one is, again, I think the work we've been doing over the last few years is going to pay off as we prepared almost everything in the high school plant. So you would hope at some point we get a couple of years of lower costs. But the plant operations is one that we could move. If we can get that one down, that could go into classrooms and things of that nature.
Yeah, especially in the HVAC side of things. So we started to look at other areas, part of the O&M as well as in the facilities. And forgive me if I say O&M, that's my military background, M&O. Okay, so registration and student data, having replacement with Synergy over Power School, there's some dollar savings in that. Network operations, hardware, software, and security, there's improvement in that since the contract that is being replaced. It's being replaced by ETC out of Northern Arizona University. So they're going to be coming down here and upgrading our network and putting in security software. Conversations have started on that. And then Jared has already tried to get a head start on the student and faculty laptops. Some of them, they're just beyond the upgrade capability. So working on that to make sure it's effectively accomplished. And then the curriculum contract is being replaced on reading this year. They did math last year. And that's going to be some improvement. So again, it's looking at the classroom and things that they're doing now that I haven't been involved in. They've been ancillary to the facilities, but it's classroom focused and it's improving the environment. And I mentioned NAU. They have been really good to talk to and deal with and making these transitions as seamless as possible, and they're going to be doing some training along the way. It's always good to get a clean audit. So I had to put that in there. A lot of work by a lot of folks, and some of them are sitting right in here. Thank you very much. Enough said on that one. The other thing that's going on is there should be a nice laid-back summer. We've got a few changes in personnel. And they're key individuals. So as they learn their new jobs, either with us or without us, then we need to be able to recover from that. And a lot of the things that those individuals picked up on, because there's a lot of multitasking going around here, isn't written down. So we're having a brain drain going on to try and get working together on that.
And one thing I just want to add is, years ago, we made a commitment to kind of grow on our own, and if you look at that, like that list, we know everyone. I mean, some of the left, obviously, but we know everyone coming in. So Aaron coming through our admin training cohort, and Luke coming up, as a coach here a long time, as athletic director, and former superintendent, Dr. Allen, giving back and coming back to help. So there's definitely always going to be a loss of knowledge when people leave, but I think we have a lot better redundancy than we've had in the past. And, like Dr. Allen coming back and Craig coming back and that, I also will to make sure that knowledge is always in the district. So I think we've done a good job of that, but it's important that we keep thinking about, bringing in new people from time to time to get some fresh ideas, but also continue to grow our own people, because that helps keep us moving forward.
So one thing that I've said is we sort of started out of sequence a little bit. This has been the master planning for facilities and land. This should be part of a strategic plan for the district. So eventually, we're going to back around and do the top level for the entire thing, including for the classrooms. So in the notebook that I held up, there's a draft plan. We have a list of all the community participants. We've had teachers and staff and community members that have participated. We've had speakers come in. We're going to pick up after the new season starts, after the summer as the class comes in, and start to reconvene the committee and start working on the future things that we are still TBD. So with that, I thank everybody for their help and assistance getting this far. Everybody's been leaning forward. It's been a very positive group. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. You've done a great job, and we're in really good place to use this capital money to really put the district on a good path. So thank you for everything.
Okay, great, thank you. Next item is difference between capital funding and M&O funding.
Dr. Kelsey, North Board, yes. I have with us tonight one of our fantastic district office employees, Valerie Fernandez. As you might recall, we did a promotion for Val earlier this year for all the hard work she's done in the finance department. And when you asked for this, I thought there's a great opportunity for her to come and speak and present to you, because she is the one who tells everyone no. And that's good, because that's why our audit was good. One of her jobs now is to prepare, work with the auditors, and make sure that audit is good. And she takes that very, very seriously, and that is why you've seen the drastic shift over the last few years to where audit is today. So I can't say more positive things about Val. So I wanted her to present to you tonight and get used to this and share with you guys the differences between M&O and capital.
Okay, so the USFR, excuse me, is the uniform, I'm a little nervous. Okay, so the Uniform System of Financial Records, which Bernie touched on a little bit. So it's strict guidelines that the school districts have to follow. They joke around when you go to trainings and stuff, and they call it the "you suffer." Because literally, when you're going through trying to figure out how to code things, it could be this or it could be that. You never are for sure. There we go. Okay, so for Fund 610, which is our capital, this is a breakdown of things that capital it covers. So as we saw in the 2023 consolidation, we did the land and buildings and improvement. We can purchase furniture, athletic equipment, other equipment, also computer software. There's pupil, non-pupil transportation vehicles and equipment. We have textbooks, instructional aids, typically are like workbooks and lab materials, some library books, payment of principal and interest on bonds, and district administration emergency needs that are directly related to pupils.
And so one of the things I'll just add to that is we get roughly 600,000. That's, I think, a good round number. Some years it's higher, some years it's lower, based on our per pupil numbers. And this account, I believe, is very underfunded because there's a lot of capital needs. Now, what we've done is we've been able to, because of the generosity of our community, and I'll give you a perfect example, we would not have any money carry forward or in the bank if our community didn't come forward and donate $500,000 for a football field, right? So our community has stepped up time and time again when there's a real need, and the football field is a great example. They've also stepped up when we've dreamed big. The planetarium at the elementary school, which is still the only permanent one I know of in America, was that unit, the dome, the projection, all the equipment was completely funded through the Peter and Teresa Conti Foundation and the PTO. So we've been able to have a lot of opportunities to keep our capital a little bit lower, our expenditures, because the community has stepped up. We will carry forward around 670,000 of that into next year, and then we did another allotment of that. But we have expenditures, moving the preschool. Most of that comes out of capital because it's consolidation. We have the textbook adoption that's on tonight's agenda for Wonders. That'll be close to $100,000. So the money can go really fast. What has helped us a ton is having all the volunteers and their knowledge and basically free employees in a lot of ways to do a lot of the work, like the painting project behind us, which we saved a lot of money. So that the capital, and this is our argument a lot of times, is we typically have a little bit more capital than we do M&O. And so that's when we go to her and say, hey, can this be capital? And the answer is usually no. And so, and then if there's a question about it, then we go to the auditor, and the auditor will send us an email of yes or no. So we always follow what we're supposed to do, but some are on the, as we've seen, some of them could possibly go either way, and sometimes they can, so, yeah.
Right. So as we saw on the previous slide, so those are the items that could be considered capital. Now, this is the criteria that it has to meet. So if the item under normal condition of use, including reasonable care and maintenance, can be expected to serve its principal purpose for at least 1 year, So most of the time, that one's yes. I highlighted number 2 because that's the one that seems to get everybody. Like if you ask if we can replace like a office chair. An office chair. The answer is no, because if it breaks a wheel, or we're not going to go and fix that wheel. We're going to get rid of that chair and get a new chair. So stuff like that. For the third item, it is that the item is an independent unit and it retains its original shape, appearance, and character. So it's really important that when we're determining capital expenses that they have to meet all 3 of these criteria. Otherwise, my answer is no.
Most of the time.
For M&O, so M&O covers daily expenses such as the teacher salaries, staff benefits, utilities, and instructional supplies. M&O funds are for operating expenses and not long-term capital projects like building new schools. 80 to 95% of the M&O budget usually is in teachers and staff salaries. Our utilities are fixed operational costs. That's our electricity, water, insurance. Classroom supplies, technology, and software. Student services, sped placement, and sped placement. And so these funds are all vital for district operations, often appearing on ballots like our override to support teacher retention and smaller class sizes.
And sometimes these where it's a little confusing because some software you can use as capital, but like ASU, even though it is technically software and technically kids access it through a computer because it's a course and they're getting credit for it, it's not software. So that's where sometimes we have to, ask for guidance. And what's great is that our auditors at Highfield Beach always answer very quickly, give us documentation that we can use, like if there was an issue in the future. Like we checked and we double checked it. We also will reach out to the county from time to time as well and ask them, as a secondary, option of, getting multiple opinions on something that might be a bigger deal. For example, you've seen in the past, you'll probably see it again, where you've approved over $100,000 purchase, but then that project carries into the following year, so we have you reapprove it. And we've been kind of told, different things from different people, but so we ask multiples, and then we take that answer, and we usually go with, let's just have them do it twice. What does it hurt to, get it done twice? So, and that's where Val runs a very, very, very tight ship. She does not mess around, which is great.
And so that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Jeff,
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
thanks.
Okay, moving on. Next up is the student activity and auxiliary accounts, pages 50 to 71. Any questions or comments about those?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Find it. Why are special projects going into the night?
I think I know the answer, but do you want to answer?
That's like specifically at the high school.
Go ahead, Doctor. You may have already talked to Chris, I don't.
Yeah, I haven't asked about this, but basically some of these have not been reimbursed yet. Some of the ones in negative territory, they end up evening up by the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that the money is expended, but it's not yet been reimbursed. I think that's accurate. Yes, Dr.
Yeah, Craig's also here. If Craig wants to hit on that one, but typically that is, yeah.
And that was my other question, was the food.
The food is another one.
The food, definitely. We're going to talk about food later tonight, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, on special projects, there was an account set up in the district office that Dr. J wanted to monitor, and he wanted to see how much was used by each of the schools. So it was on purpose not reallocated to the schools to show essentially not a negative, but Dr. J was monitoring that and knowing how much was spent for each of the individual schools.
Gotcha.
So that may or may not continue with the new superintendent.
Okay. Other questions? No? Okay, thank you. Next is the unaudited financial report, pages 71 through 73. And again, there's a couple of negatives there, and I think the same thing applies except for the food service.
Yeah.
And these were prepared by Mr. Rodolphe as well, just so you guys are aware.
Questions, comments on that? No?
Yeah, medical reimbursement's another one that comes later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, then, next thing is the public hearing on the proposed budget. So I'll move that we suspend the regular meeting to conduct a public hearing on the proposed budget for 2026 and 2027. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay.
Please welcome back Dr. Allen. We're so happy he's back. And
Thanks.
he's been working hard behind the scenes to prepare for you tonight, this presentation.
I'm not sure why it's not coming up.
Oh, it's not coming up on your computer?
Oh,
It's
okay.
on the page.
That's fine.
You good without it?
I am. That's fine. Yes, glad to be back. So I'm Robert Allen. I'm here to present the 2026-27 proposed budget. So good evening, President Rakowski, members of the governing board, Dr. J, and guests. So as I said, tonight I am presenting to you the FY or fiscal year 27 proposed budget. You have in your board packet a copy of the cover page, and then you have, I'm going to call them financial pages 1 through 8. Each one has a grid of the various accounts and the proposed budgeted expenditures for those. Yeah, I understand. That's
But I'll put it here so you can forward through.
You also have a page on English language learner budget, which is blank, because there's not a specific budget for that for Fountain Hills. And you have 2 summary pages. I will highlight the elements that contribute to the budget preparation, general outcomes for various funds. My PowerPoint highlights the key budget elements for you. I can also walk through each budget page separately if desired, but I'll touch on each page just so you can understand, the fundamental element or the fundamental budgetary fund, more or less, or the combination of funds that are displayed on that page. Yeah.
Not cooperating.
Give me 1 second, Rob. Let me
Try that.
Frozen on me. Lost. I restarted it. Not connected to that computer for whatever reason.
I didn't do it.
It usually will turn on if the computer is like plugged into it or it won't. So for whatever reason, it's not turning on. Even though it was on before, we had y'all set up, it was perfect. I did turn it off and turn it back on.
There it
Oh,
is.
there we go. It was something I did, not him.
Okay, thank you. So this slide kind of highlights just generally the essential preparation factors for the budget. The first thing to do to prepare the budget is you have to have the Auditor General release the forms. The first set of forms were released on May 26. You download these from the Auditor General. You must work with these forms to prepare the budget. I started working in those forms, but then they released an updated version on June 2nd. And so I switched over to the new format. And then yesterday, that memo came out both from the state and was published on ADE. They're going to release another updated set. I believe it's coming out on Friday, June 19th. So the options, you can see at the bottom, there's what are your options for presenting your budgets for the proposed and adopted. And so we will use option 1, which is we'll propose using the preliminary forms I've prepared the budget with. We'll use the adopted budget using the same forms. The adopted budget would be any changes that arise out of the board meeting tonight. And then third, we'll do a budget revision on due by September 15th, using the new forms that the Auditor General has provided. So that gives a month and a half, a couple months to revise whatever. I haven't looked at the forms yet. Come out on the 19th. We'll see. Carry forward most of the calculations that go into that, and we'll just see what the changes are. Probably some of the 60% instructional spending, that was one piece. That was a recent in the final bill that came out, and whatever else that resulted from the final conclusion of the legislative session. The basic data that affects M&O and capital budget limits are the unweighted and weighted student counts, and then the Group B add-ons is primarily the special education area, but there's a K-3 reading supplement there, and the free reduced lunch population. The M&O override, the district additional assistance, the state-funded capital piece, the budget balance carry forward. Those are kind of the big ticket items that that generates your approximately the $9 million that we have to work with. There's not too much changes in the benefits for next year. I spoke to payroll about this. There's a slight change in ASRS and long-term disability, slight decrease, very minimal decrease. And the district costs for medical expect to increase no more than $50,000, so not very significant on the benefits side. So if you look at your packet, and so cover page, it's where the board signatures are, and then on the right side, there's some tables about overall M&O amounts from the prior year. There's tax rate information. We'll talk about that briefly. Dr. Kowski, I'll address your question you had on that.
Okay.
I spoke to Stiefel in the last couple of days. I'm trying to clarify the tax rate piece. The next page is, I call it page 1, and that's how it's typically, it's page 1 of 8. So it's the M&O budget page. That large grid, it looks like that. That's pretty much the M&O page. That's called page 1 of 8. The next page is, the next page is M&O expenses for special education, just a small amount of numbers in there, what the audit is expected to be, and what we set aside from M&O food service. There's some requirements with respect to that. Next page, page 3 of 8, the Prop 301, classroom site fund expenses. Page 4 of 8 is unrestricted capital. It is actually the budget, and then the next page is projected capital and bond expenditures by object code. And then next page, 6 of 8, special projects and other funds, primarily your grants, federal grants, state grants, and other cash-based accounts. There's a long table on the right side, those cash-based accounts. And in almost all of these pages, you're seeing fiscal 26 and fiscal 27 for comparisons. Fiscal 26 pre-populates. When you open up the fiscal 27 budget, you open up side by side the adopted budget from fiscal 26, and they're linked. So everything you see that says FY26, that is a carried forward number from the prior year budget that you just, you're pretty much the revised budget you just approved a couple weeks ago. And then the last really budgeted page, the unrestricted capital budget limit and classroom site fund budget limit. The English language learners budget, as I said, it's not budgeted specifically for. Then you have the 2 summary pages. So I'm just going to go through now. No, it's definitely not changing there.
It's scared of the
I'm not sure what the. Okay, here we go.
There we go.
So this table describes the factors that influence the M&O and capital. So the first number that has to be derived is the unweighted student count. It's 838.5. That is an estimated student count. It took all the current grade levels, moved them up 1 year, except you double the kindergarten, because kindergarten, when they moved them to first grade, they're only counted as a 0.5, and then estimated the incoming kindergarten class. You can see that's about an 83 student decline, and that's mostly because very small incoming kindergarten class and very large graduating senior class. Those counts get weighted. The K-8s get weighted about a 1.12 or something like that, and the high school gets weighted about I have the numbers handy, but they just get weighted. Everyone's not worth 1.0. They get weighted a little additional amount to inflate the M&O amount. So in the end, the unweighted student count decline of about 81 students. The Group B add-ons, K3, you enter all your K3 students, you enter all the projected special ed students in the special education categories, and you enter your free reduced lunch population. They get added into the weighted accounts, and so our student population that is the number one factor that's multiplied by the per pupil amount is 1,341.14. So that's your weighted student count for projected weighted student count for next year. And again, it's a decline of about 80 students. That weighted student count is multiplied by the base level amount. You can see the base level amount went up 2%. It's pretty much the 2% inflation factor that's been going on for years. So it went up from $5,113 to $5,215, $100 per pupil. And so multiply it out, and your base support level, 7,339,000, or about 7,040,000, compared to the 7,265,000 of the current year. So a drop of about $250,000. Transportation revenue control limit, that is a levied amount that's levied for the public, and as a declining district, that has been the same ever since I started 10 years ago. We've always received $901,000. Revenue control limit, though, those are added together, and so the 7 million plus the 900,000, 7.9, compared to the 8.2, so a decline of about $250,000. District additional assistance, the state-funded capital amount, pretty close, 620,000 compared to 639,000. Little decline. The M&O override, I just multiply that base support level line, 7039. Actually, no, the revenue control limit, the 7941, you multiply that by 15%, and that's how I got the M&O override amount. So again, it's that revenue control limit times 15% gives you your 1.191 override. That compares to the 1.23. Now, a little caveat on your fiscal 26 override. The budget you approved a year ago, the override was about 1.1 million. It's been practice, and we'll need to confirm, you generally cannot increase your override with a revised budget. So I'm pretty sure you're going to end up with an override for current year of about 1.1 million, not the 1.263. You've already been, that amount has already been levied for. So we just have to watch that, extremely close. So I'm expecting about 150,000 less on current year override amount. Again, you cannot increase that on revised budgets. That's why you try to get your max budget as close as possible. You can always reduce it. If your student count comes in lower and your budget drops a little bit, your override will decline. But if your student count goes up and you get a little more money on your revised budget, you still cannot increase the override in that process. The M&O carry forward, as of a few days ago, 363,000 is what Visions, the financial system, shows. Last year, it carried forward 980,000, so a big drop there in the 616. And so the general budget limit, what can you spend in M&O? I'm saying for fiscal 27, about $9.5 million, compared to about $10.5 million for last year. Okay? So any questions about any of those factors at this point?
I just want to share that you all approved budget reductions early this year at or above $1 million to make up for that we knew was coming. So that's why we did the budget reductions we did back in probably March, February. So we knew it was going to come in lower, and my estimate was a little lower, and so it was kind of nice to see that it's a little better than we thought it would be. And those things happen, and we still got to see what student count looks like next year too before it's final.
And while that's a little better than your projection,
Yeah.
I think the M&O override piece is probably going to offset that
Yeah.
a little bit. So, but okay. If you go back to your board packet, the second page of your packet is that M&O, the total M&O budget that's projected for fiscal 27. I'm just going to highlight that one down in the bottom. So in fiscal 26, the $10,593,000, he projected carry forward about 368,000. Looks like pretty close to that, actually. For fiscal 27, the M&O, their budget is 9.496. I've budgeted 9.3 with a carry forward of about 172,000. And if you look at that page, the left column describes in verbiage how money is spent. And it starts with the program. Program 100 is regular ed, program 200 is special ed, program 400 is transportation. So as you go across, it tells you how it's spent in salaries, which is object code 6100, and then the benefits piece. So the salaries piece, I took all the projected salaries for next year that have been entered in divisions and parsed them out by whether they're instructional support, students, et cetera, divided them out. And I have about 5 million in salaries. You can see at the very bottom of that salaries column, 5 million. That does not include transportation. In this district so far, all your transportation costs right now are being funded through impact aid, which we'll touch briefly on that. For the benefits, it's hard to, at this point, break it down by who's accepting benefits and who's not. It's a little early for me to be doing that. So I multiplied by 0.31 or 0.32. I used benefits is about 31 to 32%. So I think I probably used about a 0.32. So I just multiplied all the salaries in that salary column by 32%, and that generates the benefits costs. So that one is a true estimate as we speak today. On the purchase services side, as we go, if you look at the header across purchase services, most of those are based on current year expenditures. I carried over a lot of the numbers from fiscal 26. I looked at what actually was spent in fiscal 26, and I carried over a lot of those numbers, or sometimes reduced by 10%, since your overall budget's dropping by about 10%. I reduced some of those by 10%. So those are projections. And the supply line, similar. What was spent in supplies for each of those line items, a lot of those carried over or maybe reduced about 10%, again, because of the reduction in the overall budget limit. And then the far side, it tells you what was spent in fiscal 26 on each of those line items and what the projection is for fiscal 27. There's one big one. It's line 12. If you want to look at line 12, on your sheet it says $768,000 line item under, I'm not sure where he put that, and nothing for budget 26. That went into school, other instructional programs. I can't find an expenditure yet for the current year on that, so I did not budget anything in that line item for fiscal 27. Any questions on that page? That is the most significant page in the entire packet. It tells you where your 9 million is projected or budgeted to be spent. Okay. This is your federal and state grant revenue. Some of this has already been approved for fiscal 27. Title I, 128,000, 129,000. It's an increase from the 404 from 26. Title IIA, a decline. No, Title IIA. Looks like it's up from fiscal 26. Title VI, a decline. IDEA, special ed, decline. IDEA preschool, decline. The Perkins and the state grant, most all of those have declined a little bit, except the school safety grant. Looks like that has gone up about 34,000 from the prior year. I pulled these numbers off the ADE grants management site for the grants for the current year. Impact aid, looks like you expected 628,000, a slight decline from what we received in fiscal 26.
Did those decline because of student enrollment?
I think it was what I heard was less funds.
I actually don't know the answer to
Yeah.
that.
Was the question on the grants?
And the
Yeah,
impact
grants
aid.
typically tied to
Oh,
state grants.
for the federal grants, yes, it's eligibility, right. Well, it could be federal funding too. It might have declined, but oftentimes it's the students themselves.
I see all of those decreasing. I think the only reason Title II increased is because I had carryover.
Okay.
Carryover. So,
And some grants allow carryover,
Yeah.
some don't.
yeah.
But also, some of those grants are spendable till September 30th, and so, I don't know, I don't know what's in, I didn't have a real exact figure on what's encumbered with them or not to date, so.
And impact aid to the last couple of years, we get a letter saying what we're going to get, and then the last couple of years it's come in more. So we budget with that number, but then like this year, we had a check come through recently for another 200 that will go into carry forward into future expenditure.
$200.
200,000, sorry.
So there's some other funding sources, which there is some discretion on how they're used. Not total discretion, but some discretion. So impact aid, right now, I've projected about 400,000 carry forward. You have total discretion of how you spend impact aid. You can almost spend impact aid on anything. Right now, the direction for the district is you're funding all of your transportation costs, virtually everything with impact aid. Instructional Improvement Fund, that's a state gaming money. Up to 50% of that can be for teacher salary increases. So you get $65,000 that has the potential to be moved into teacher salary increases. Also, it can be used for class size reduction. If you have an excessive one grade level and you need to reduce that down, you can hire one teacher specifically through that money. The preschool, that's essentially the community school fund. Dr. J has beefed that up quite a bit this year because I believe the intention is to fund the preschool teachers' salaries out of that fund for next year and probably or possibly relieving teacher salary on the M&O side for the preschool teachers, correct?
Yes.
The highest cost child, I'm not as familiar with that grant or that fund. So I know it has, I believe it's going to carry forward about $235,000.
And that is, as I've shared with you, that I have made a lot of calls to the state and made a lot of new friends on how to get reimbursed for our students who are placed at outside placement. And we've been very blessed the last few years to get more than, we've had in the past, but that is also starting to dry up. So I'm only expecting, like this year, I think we got 160,000. Typically, you can see around 75, but we have some special circumstances out here that even though we're not technically, but we are in the school world a little rural, so they give us a little bit more, but that can be used to reimburse us for any SPED-related costs that we have incurred, like all the ones you approved for the ACEs and Chrysalis, and that money's there. So we have let that grow a little bit, knowing that we can, journal that if we need to.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We have an inside joke. He always talks about moving money into M&O. Total illegal move. You never move money into M&O. You can reallocate funds, but M&O is fixed. The only thing how M&O increases is through a revised budget process, so. The trust refund, the trust refund is a significant number, that $500,000, and there is some flexibility with that money. You can pay your liability insurance premium with that. The liability insurance premium is about $400,000. So that is a good reserve fund for if M&O gets tight as we tighten the budget down the road. There's money available to offset how we pay for the district liability insurance. That's through the Arizona School Risk and Retention Trust. So that you've got about $1.5 million there with some discretion how you can utilize that. And then finally, the classroom site fund is really healthy, $1.6 million. However, that is not as discretionary. You can use that for teacher salary increases, performance pay type things. However, it cannot supplant salary raises you've already given. You would have to give those raises on top. So, but nonetheless, it's a way to consider raises down the road. So if a teacher's making $55,000 and that's all we can afford with M&O moving ahead, we could project from the classroom site fund additional raise from that, so.
Rob, can we make that a temporary raise and then just use that every year?
I think your best
Being
bet to do
creative.
that is the improvement fund, which we have planned to do for their bonuses that you all approved in their contracts for next year. So since 50% of that money can be used for teacher salary increases, that's where we were going to take the teacher side ones from. The classified can't come out of that, so it would have to come out of somewhere else. The other thing that I want to be just clear about with the healthy classroom site fund is that we also need to be prepared for if the day ever comes where that money is no longer funded, because we have salary, a percentage of salaries comes out of there now because of previous increases we've given. And so I've always been very strict on at least a year or more in the bank in case it goes away, so we have a year to pivot and figure out what we're going to do. So it is healthy, and I've shared with Val, you know, the question we get a lot of time in the superintendent's office, and I'm sure I came to Dr. Allen when he was superintendent, asked the same question is, I need another section, or I need another teacher. Where you can pull that a lot of times is from that fund, if you can show it's going to reduce class size for everyone else. And then what we've done in the past when we've done that is we've got a letter from the auditor in accounting saying, yes, that is an acceptable expense. And so we have it documented. You can also pay for, I believe, some of your SPED services like psychologists, occupational therapists, speech pathologists.
Yes, it's beyond just the regular classroom teacher.
So that could be another way to journal some salaries down the road to relieve some of the M&O concerns.
That would be supplanting.
Oh, that one would be.
That would be illegal.
But it would be, I'm sorry. But you could do the classroom reduction.
Right,
That's
correct.
what we've never done those.
Right. You,
See, Rob's on it.
yeah, if you want, especially at the elementary level, if you have, if you need 3 sections. If you got 2 and you're, you know, you got 30 kids in a class in an elementary and you want to reduce that, that is a legitimate move there to reduce class size. So just a summary, the increase in the base level helps to compensate for, somewhat helps to compensate for enrollment decline. But you're still about 1.1 million compared to the prior year. A lot of that is the 900,000 carry forward that we brought into fiscal 26, but only the 300,000 carry forward we're bringing into fiscal 27. And even that, a little dicey because of the M&O override piece, and we need to watch. But additional funding that's been saved can offset some of the M&O decline. And the way you do that is you split how you pay someone. You pay someone from 2 different accounts, perfectly legitimate. Just a split funded salary, very common, and all perfectly legal. But the impact aid, instructional improvement, insurance, community school, high cost child grant, and also the preschool/community school fund. They've given the district some nice insurance to accommodate that about $1 million decline. Of course, we've reduced staff too, which, you know, commensurate reduction in staff, because you're expecting, you know, with your student enrollment to decline. But these funds will help. Also on capital side, the district additional assistance is about, what, 620,000, something like that. That is the only legal move where you can move that money into M&O, perfectly legal. Right now, it is sitting on the capital side, but if you find the 8 million, you know, if that money starts to float in, you would have flexibility, and you can do that during the course of the year. You can do that in any of the revised budgets. So you can do it in September, we could do it in December, we could probably even do it in May. Probably choose to do it in December if we were thinking about it. But you can take that 600,000 in DAA, District Additional Assistance Capital, And you can slide that perfectly legally right back to M&O to beef up your M&O budget. So now if you look at any of the pages, if you had any questions, I have a couple of corrections from the what page you have. So on the cover page, I did fill in the district website on the copy I will submit, where we post on the left side. I did fill in the district website where we will post the budget. Over on the tax rates, the primary tax rate for fiscal '26, that's defined now by Arizona Department of Revenue. That's 1.2987. And I have entered that in my copy of the budget that I have updated since I provided you with this. That's the only change on fiscal '26. On the fiscal '27 side, I have a primary tax rate, and this is after discussion with Stiefel yesterday. I have 1.3663 for primary, 1.3663. I have 0.1665 for the override. And then I have the total on that fiscal '27 to be 0.2865. I believe those are the only changes I've made since I copied that for you. And now, please, you can ask any questions you'd like.
So based on that, is it fair, is it accurate to say that the amount of property tax a homeowner will pay this upcoming budget year is higher than?
And I didn't ask her specifically that. It's, and there is a debate on, there's two sections to that primary tax. When you pull up the county tax rate, they publish tax rates for everybody. It does have a tax rate on the primary levy of 0.12987 for the current year, but it also has a supplementary one of 0.3513. And that's where she got a little vague with me yesterday about that. However, the tax rates are only published for information. We don't actually calculate the tax rates. I don't calculate the tax rate. The Arizona Department of Revenue and Treasurer, they calculate the tax rates. So I wondered about that myself, and I don't have an answer to that because we know the assessed valuation went up. So the logic would be if the assessed valuation went up and our M&O costs are going down, our tax rate should probably decline slightly. So the question is, when she was giving me those numbers, did she give me these two amounts for the primary rate? It's a primary rate for the M&O, and then there's it's a secondary, it's not on the secondary tax rate, it's just an additional amount for the transportation costs. And that's why it's a little vague to me right today. I'd have to go back and revisit my discussion with her, but it's a very legitimate question. The expectation is tax rate should go down with increased evaluations and decline in M&O. So I don't have an answer for that today.
Do you have an idea of when we would know, like, more firm numbers?
When we do the fiscal '26 is pretty much defined. The only question is, did she have this additional amount and forget to include that when I talked to her? Fiscal '27 those are only going to be estimates regardless.
Got it. But we'll know.
However, we would know when we do the adopted budget by next Friday.
Okay, so definitely before the November election, that will be determined. Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions?
I have a question on the DAA movement to M&O. You said 600,000. Is it up to 600,000? So if you, or do you have to move?
No, any part of it.
Okay.
You can adjust your district additional assistance, the amount you would like to shift to M&O, any or all of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
And Ms. Andrea has the budget sheets for requiring signatures tonight because things we'll be uploading everything within the next day or so.
Or we have them up here, right? Okay,
Okay.
we'll sign those. I guess once we vote to adopt later. Okay. All right.
Any other questions?
No?
No,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll move that we reconvene the regular meeting, at least temporarily. Is there a second?
I said.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. The next up is I'll move that we vote to suspend the regular meeting to conduct a public hearing on the instructional time model for 2026-2027. Is there a second for that motion?
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
So, Dr. Guys, members of the board, yes, you have seen the instructional time model, very small changes. I'm here to answer any questions you have.
Are there any questions? I guess that's true. Any public comments on that one? Public comments for later, okay.
You're on the,
Yeah, okay. All right, if there are none, then I'll move that we reconvene the regular meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now on to general public comments. Do we have any?
we do?
Okay. Okay, there are two. First of all, Jenny Amstutz and Kim Bartman, come on up. You have 3 minutes.
Uh-oh. Hello. Uh-oh.
Is the green down
Is
there?
it green light?
Oh, gosh, you
Understand?
guys. Can I have my 3 minutes restored?
Yeah, that's fine. All right, go.
Okay, I already said this maybe 2 meetings ago, but I didn't know there was going to be a last meeting. So I have to talk more. Thank you again for all you've done for our district and all the stuff you had to put up with. And I just really applaud you and grateful that you're going to stay in the community, and just thank you so much.
I'm here to echo all of that, and I really like all of your retirement signage. Very nice. Thank you so much for everything you've done for the district. We really appreciate it.
Oh, wait, I want a selfie.
Oh, my God.
All right, next public comment is from Tom Baumgarten. Tom?
Good evening, my name is Tom Baumgarten. I appreciate the board letting me make a couple of comments, and also congratulations to a fellow superintendent. I'm retiring. I'm actually just finished after 40 years. So I'm a practice superintendent, so I never really speak directly into the mic. But I had a chance to see Mr. Burney make a presentation about your district, and I just want to be here. I've had a house here for 25 years, and so I'd like to help support the increased enrollment for students and be willing to participate and support that process. And you know, you've got a jewel here. I decided to buy here and decided to keep here and decided to eventually retire. And my last job was actually coaching superintendents, and I really enjoyed that. But I think I met your new superintendent, and she's really excited, and they should head praise for your outgoing superintendent. So what a diamond you have here. And my goal is to help maybe just do what I can to continue it, because schools and libraries are signs of strengths of the community. And I'd like to make sure this community thrives and the school district thrives too. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We love volunteers. All right, moving on to the large list of action items, starting on page 97 of our packet with the personnel action. Any questions on that one? If not, I will move that we approve the personnel action. Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Next up is the M&O override proposition number, and this basically, I guess the county is offering us at no cost to assign a proposition number to the M&O override question on the ballot. I gather we can't pick the proposition number, right? They just assign it randomly?
Correct.
So, whether, I don't see that there's really an advantage or disadvantage. I mean, at least to the district, it might be to the organizations that are for it or against it. They can make signs saying no on whatever or yes on whatever, but that's not really our role. So, other thoughts on whether we should just let it slide and leave it as an M&O override or with a number?
I guess the question that popped into my head was, do we know yet how many propositions are going to be on the ballot? Like,
I haven't seen, I mean, other than the voter guide that I know is in my house somewhere, but.
Yeah, I know there are several from the state level that the legislature passed to put on the ballot right to the public.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, but I think there are 3 or 4 or 5 as far as I know.
yeah, I guess and then I go back to, okay, when I vote, how does that look on my, voter card, right? So does giving it a prop number put it up with everything else, so it's just kind of mixed in there, and not allow it to be sort of separate? And what are the pros and cons to that? It just brings up a lot of.
My worry is, the community thrives on transparency, and I think, calling it an M&O override is what they would expect to see. So
Yeah.
that was my conversation with Dr. Rikowski.
Yeah, the language would be kind of like what we saw at a previous meeting, the language and the setup of that. So, yeah, I would be inclined to just leave it as is, in which case I don't think we have to notify the attorney at all. Any other thoughts on that?
So without a prop number, it's just.
It'll look like what we saw the last meeting or the one before.
I do like that better.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm afraid that otherwise it's going to be a whole bunch of numbers and it'll be overlooked.
I agree. I feel like for transparency purposes, it's not like everyone in the community knows that now we can use a prop number, right? And so it feels a little less transparent by using a prop number.
Yeah. Okay. All right, then I'll move that we forego the assignment, the request for a proposition number for the M&O override. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Proposed budget for 2026-2027 on page 100. So this is what we were educated about, and we just need a motion to approve. Who'd like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the proposed budget for 26-27.
Okay, and a second?
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Next is the 2026-2027 instructional time model on page 101.
I move we approve the 2026-27 instructional time model.
And who would like to second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next up is the resolution for garnishment services. This sounds so punitive.
Oh, you skipped it, yeah.
Did I?
Wonders. You skipped
Skip Wonders.
Oh, ELA, okay, never mind, I'm just moving right along here. Okay, yes, the Wonders ELA curriculum. And I just had a couple of comments on here. I'm not, I think last meeting we talked, or the previous meeting we talked about the social emotional learning section. There is on, I think, the kindergarten and grade 1 student. The only concern about that I have is a couple of the videos. I don't know if anybody looked at the What I Am videos. And there were some typographical errors in there, which I alerted Ms. Reichler to. Like the word persistent was spelled peistant, and the word determined was determined without the R. And that just, I mean, if you're trying to teach kids, it seems like someone should have proofread that. I'm not sure that that's a reason not to approve the curriculum, but it's a little concerning. So maybe we just, if there's a way to notify.
Didn't we
Well,
agree to not do that?
If it's in the SEL
Well, the SEL
section.
is in the student, it's one of the student programs.
I
on the
know, but if
student
it's
side.
the first program, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about that, and I said that I want that turned off.
Right.
Now, I know our district doesn't have enough power to make the Wonders textbook group turn it off and then give it to us with it turned off, but I do not want our teachers teaching that section. There's no reason for it. Has nothing to do with ELA.
Right. But it's a student section. That's the thing, it's not the teacher section, it's a student section. I'm not sure they can turn off access to the students. That's the question, the technical question.
I thought that they
You're just talking
could.
about
The SEL part for kindergarten and grade 1 student.
yeah, my understanding was that when they presented that there are certain things that they can't do, but there are directives that you all as a board can
Right.
get. is what they-
Yeah,
So we
and
would
I
just tell the
thought
teachers
that-
not to assign that
Yes.
student section.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Sam did it on screen for us. She was like, you could just turn it off.
Let's
Ah,
cut this out. So
there we go.
these are-
Okay, come on down. Hey, can we turn off that part of the student section?
Yes, what is great about the Wonders program is we have the ability to move and close out different parts of our lesson component. And that was one of the great things that the teachers liked about it. Because ELA can be overwhelming, and we can, on our part, on the platform we pull up, we can go in and close down sections that we don't want to teach that particular day and move forward sections. So we do have the capability of closing, removing, and also modifying what our students see. And a lot of times, I will say in early elementary, our teachers tend to not put our kids on Chromebooks, so that's we want to give direct, explicit instruction to our children. So we do not want them sitting and playing on Chromebooks because that's a distraction for them, especially at that early age. So, but we do, directly to your question, we do have the capabilities of closing out sections in the student on what they see on their Chromebooks, or if we ever assign anything on our Chromebooks, we have the ability to do that.
Okay. And then the other admittedly picky thing that I found in the grade 2 section on the multimedia videos, there's a couple of videos. The Adam has an apple and play ball. And I'll admit this is picky, but they repeatedly use the word gonna. And I know that's common usage, but it's like, do we really want to teach our second graders to say gonna as opposed to going to? But anyway, that's my
Maybe the
picky
teachers
point.
could just use that as an example.
Well, we
right?
do.
And say,
yeah, it just struck me as
here,
like,
we shouldn't be saying gonna.
As a
We should be saying.
past second grade teacher, one of the things that we do talk about is formal language and that we use in formal writing, and we do teach lessons on casual language that we do use in everyday talk. And so we do those comparison and contrast when we do give lessons. So I have given very specific lessons on that. That is in our actual standards.
And kind of the disturbing thing in the video that you sent out today, Barney, there was the Senate, Senator Tuberville used gonna. It's like,
So,
anyway.
yeah, we do teach that, and that always comes up in writing, and like I said, there are standards that speak to formal written language versus conversational language, and we compare and contrast that in second grade.
Good. Okay, Kim, do you want to make the motion?
I do. I want to make one comment before I make the
Sure, go
motion. And that is that we did have you and some others come and present to us in previous board meetings about the science of reading work that you guys are doing that, supplements, will be supplementary, and you're already doing that work, but the Wonders is meant to couple with that. And so if anybody missed those board meetings, I think that's important to see, because that was a huge concern of mine, is that while we've identified this as being, one of the best that we can get for a textbook adoption, I still felt that from a science of reading point of view, it wasn't sufficient. So I'm very glad that our district does all the work that you do with all the volunteers and everything to help supplement that. So I will make the motion that we approve the Wonders ELA textbook and that we adopt it with the SLA section turned off.
SEL.
SEL, sorry, section turned off.
Okay, who would like to second?
I second.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, now we'll go to resolution for garnishment services. Sorry for my error there. Any questions on that one? It's on page 103 to 106.
I'll share with you guys that moving forward, this will just be one of our housekeeping items. It does come annually. It's not one that I've had in the past. It's come to me from HR, so I've made a note of it, and it will be included next year in housekeeping items. So.
Okay, good. I'll move that we approve the resolution for garnishment services. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Next up is the job description for the district facilities foreman, page 107 to 109. And this basically, you recall, is a kind of a consolidation and combining of responsibilities to save some money. Questions or comments about that one? Okay, I'll move that we approve the job description for the district facilities foreman. Is there a second?
I second it.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next up is the district facilities foreman's salary schedule. Since we have a job description, we need to pay the person. Page 110 to 111. Any questions about that one?
Nope. I move we approve the district facilities foreman's salary schedule.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Next on is the job description for a math interventionist, starting on page 112.
I'm super excited about this.
Thank you for
As a
listening to
former
us.
math teacher,
Okay,
which I am willing to help tutor, whatever.
to intervene?
I'll volunteer.
I'm also very excited about this. This is something that I think I talked with Kane and also Val about. You know, after seeing some of the great work that you have been doing back there with our ELA side of the house, I think it's really going to help. My one concern was that in the job description, it says it's to support students grades 1 through 8. So we're trying to span the elementary school and the middle school.
Well, we should change it to K, first of all.
Yeah.
And then second, I think just gives flexibility if there's a need. You know, I think right now, with everything I've seen over the last 4 years, the need is really at the elementary to not be behind when they get to middle school. But I think leaving that in as flexibility is always good. I think if we included high school, that might be 2 different people because of the level of the math.
Yeah.
But I think K8's okay.
I could see this being, you know, K through 8 now, and like you said, it having flexibility. So for example, my son will be going into 8th grade, and we have had, you know, regular turnover for my son's class in math. And I do believe our students that are going into 8th grade have not benefited from that regular turnover in math teachers. And so I could see this math interventionist doing some work in the middle school at first, but then over time, maybe we don't need to do that as much, because as we continue to work with the elementary students, now we have stronger students coming up into the middle school, and we don't need that as much. But I'm super excited about this.
To be honest, we might want to just change it to all grade levels, so we don't bring it back if you want to hire a second one down the line. I mean, if you limit it to certain grade levels, then if, you know, we end up having, you know, more carry forward money next year, or we want to do something at the high school level, you could. So this is just a job description, so it's your choice, but that would give you more flexibility and not have to bring another one to the board.
Yeah,
in the future.
and expanding it doesn't mean you have to apply it to all grades either.
No, it doesn't.
Right.
You can
Okay.
say this is only for these grades.
Who would like to make the motion with that change?
I will make a motion.
Okay,
I move that we approve the new job description for the math interventionist with the correction of K through 12. I hear that's what we want.
okay. Who would like to second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, on to the annual approval of volunteer consultants on page 115. We always love consultants, especially those that are no
He
longer
just
here.
left.
Okay, but they put their time in, so Okay. Any discussion or question about them?
Yeah, I'd just
Yeah.
like to say that Craig and Todd have been extremely helpful in these last year, getting things together, keeping me on track in the committee that we're using in facilities, as well as looking for some cost savings approaches that we're going to start implementing over the summer. So I definitely support both of them being on the approved volunteer list.
Okay. Would you like to make the motion?
I so move.
Okay. Who would like to second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next up is K, the policy advisories, 961 to 1046. And last meeting, we had a little discussion about them, and there should be a separate printout here for you of these policies. So policy GB basically talks about recruiting and selecting and employing the best qualified personnel to staff. Policy GBA clarifies that further, but then GBAC, as I pointed out or kind of highlighted last meeting, gives the Indian preference in employment, which I thought was kind of contradictory. Now, my understanding is this is federal law, so probably we don't really have anything. It still gives us the option to waive any of the above requirements by a formal vote. So if we're in this position of having several applicants for a position, and one of whom is of Native American heritage, I guess we can decide whether to give preference or not. So, given saying all that, I think it's basically, we'll leave it as is, and policy's okay. Any questions about that one? Comments? Okay. The other one is policy GBED, and we talked last meeting about the term vapor products. And I did some research about whether vapor products meant anything in the medical literature, and it seems like that is a not commonly used, but it is considered an acceptable referral to vaping. So, I guess we could leave it in there and not have to change it because it is redundant, but it doesn't really, it's kind of vague, but it doesn't really change the meaning. The other part of that too is that the other question I had is whether or not someone that takes like an asthma inhaler, whether that would be excluded by the language, but again, the terminology normally used for asthma inhalers is meter dose inhalers, so that's not prohibited. So I think we're good about someone actually needing inhaled medication. So given that, I think there's no problems that I saw with the rest of the policies, so unless there's any comments, I will move that we approve policy advisories 961 to 1046. Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next up is the Guppy Mac resolution and IGA, starting on page 143. And it has the cost there as well, I think. Any questions about that one?
No, this is a very worthwhile thing for us to be part of.
Okay, who'd like to make the motion for approval?
I so move.
And who would like to second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next up is the overnight and out-of-state field trip for cross-country, starting on page 151. Any questions about that one?
I move that we approve the overnight cross-country field trip to San Diego
Okay.
in September.
Who would like to second?
A second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next up is the new course proposal for American, do we have to do these separately, music history and imprints of honor, or it can be together? Can these be both courses together?
I was giving Krista a note for next year. Hang in the middle. I had to write it down.
Okay, all right. So for the new course proposal, can we approve both together, or they have to be separate?
I would do them separately.
Separate, okay. So the first one is the American Music History 101, starting on page 161. Any questions or comments about that? Who would like to make the motion?
I move that we approve the American History 101 course.
American Music History 101, okay. Who would like to second?
I second that.
Okay, figured you would. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next up is the new course proposal for Imprints of Honor. And I will move that we approve the Imprints of Honor new course proposal. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on, the Memorandum of Understanding for the Imprints of Honor course, starting on page 171. I'll move that we, go ahead.
I move we approve the memorandum of understanding for the imprints of honor.
Who would like to second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the next up is the Fountain Hill Protect Our Youth Coalition on page 175 to 177, Memorandum of Understanding. I'll move that we approve that Memorandum of Understanding for the Fountain Hills Protect Our Youth Coalition. Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 2026, 2027 extracurricular activities, starting on page 178. I think there was just one change there, as I recall, an increase, right?
I think it was.
No, two.
Two,
A couple.
Garden Club,
And the
and
National
then,
Honor Society.
National Honor Society, Junior National Honor Society.
let's see where that was, it's not highlighted, but,
It is.
Yes, it is.
oh, yes,
It's under-
$50, got it,
yes.
okay. We
I
okay
think-
with that?
I think our last time we asked why it was higher for the middle school versus the high school.
And we did get a message.
Yeah.
I did see that. Still didn't quite explain to me why the high school wouldn't be at the same rate, but.
I think the gist of it is that the high school has more fundraising opportunities, maybe.
I would agree that the high school students can get out and do a little bit more independently to raise money and traditionally have an account with money in it, where the junior one is probably a little harder for them to do, so.
Okay.
And I think isn't the middle school also fairly new for
I mean, it's been off and on, sometimes it's hard to find a sponsor, but Patty does a great job, and I think it's in an area where our parents they'll be okay with anything.
Okay. Who would like to make the motion?
I move we approve the extracurricular activities.
And who would like to second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, last action item is the Sodexo amended agreement with an increase to the breakfast and lunch prices.
Yeah, Dr. Gussie, North Morgan, I'm going to present this for Val. She worked on this coming into her new role, and, you know, one of the first things I dealt with when I started was a potential increase in lunch prices, and it was too late to do that, so we kept them low, and we kind of kept them pretty low over the last few years. And last year, Sodexo did have some losses, and so to keep them, you know, interested in being our provider, and we just did a RFP not long ago for food service, and there was not a lot of you know, options. We did look at both, and we went through the whole process, and Sodexo was chosen. I think we have a good partnership with them, and this is a 50-cent increase, and our prices were, breakfast was in the $2 range, and lunch was in the $3 range. So with where prices are, you know, I think the 50 cents is pretty, I think it's expected, and I don't expect a lot of concern about that. And if we don't get to a level where they're at least, you know, breaking even or making a profit, we could be looking at doing our own food service, which, looking at how small we are in all the district operations we already have, you know, if you told me I had to go hire a kitchen staff this summer, I would sleep. So it'd be really hard to do. So I think this is a good agreement. We had Dave look it over. There still is there is an increase to, we used to have a no loss clause. This does have a loss clause up to I believe it's 10,000. But again, that is on. In the past, it's really been Sodexo that has to ensure that operations are moving correctly. I think this will put a little bit on the district to also ensure that balances are paid, kids are not purchasing items they should not purchase without money on their accounts. You know, we've always had a rule here that, you know, I've always said in all the years I've been here that we're never gonna have a kid not eat lunch, like, it's just not gonna happen. So, but we have to, you know, work collectively to make sure that all those are paid, and that we're talking to parents and we're making sure that's happening. So in the past, I think a lot of that has fallen on Sodexo, but now that will put a little bit on us, and I think we're okay with that. So we've talked to everyone involved, and we don't see anything that's too concerning here.
So that 10,000, is that Sodexo can't lose 10,000, or?
It means that
or we're up for
if
10,000?
they do lose anywhere from $1 to 10,000, that the district would have to be, you know, financially responsible.
Okay, so we're potentially have to cover $10,000 loss, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Question.
yeah.
So they said that their cost for lunch is like $4.80, and we're only charging $4.25, so aren't we going to have a loss?
No, because there's lunch reimbursement that comes through, so it's a really complicated, you know, we have a dedicated person who that's what they do, so, Tammy Oberg, who's down there, Tammy Oberg does this. And for our students who are on, you know, free and reduced lunch situation, this won't have an impact on them, obviously. And remember too that we're also unique in that we have off-campus lunch in high school. So the potential of lunch sales in the high school is already cut in half. It always has been. So I just feel like we have a good partner with Sodexo, and what they're asking for I don't think is out of control by any means. They have a business to run. We would really struggle if we had to have our own lunch services, with how hard it is to get anyone in any position. Now you throw in everything that goes with lunches and all the regulations, and this would be like transportation all over again, like you saw being here, transportation. We just really need to make this one work, in my opinion.
Okay. Other questions? If not, I'll move that we approve the Sodexo amended agreement with an increase to breakfast and lunch prices. Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, on to the information and discussion items, starting on page 190. So one is the supplemental reading material for the McDowell Mountain. The books have been out there. No one looked at them again. I looked at some of these online, didn't see anything objectionable. So. Okay. And then the return of the consent agenda. So is this an idea to basically make it easier to vote these?
Yes, Dr. Guzman, yes. The consent agenda did go away over my time here, and I think that, you know, there's always, I think what's a little bit of a misunderstanding about the consent agenda is that you have the ability to pull things out of there and have your discussions if you want to. But there are so many routine things that we do every meeting that the consent agenda gives you the opportunity on those routine, you know, nothing that is you know, if you had a crowd here to have an agenda item that would not be on your consent agenda, but you see the same ones all the time that come through, and you get to choose as, you know, as you build that agenda, what can go in there and what can't. I was just looking at our new superintendent coming in, and, you know, having the consent agenda might be helpful for all involved. But again, you don't have to do that, but it was something that was here when I started, and then it went away. And I think that we have a very good situation now, but again, it's your choice.
It is written into our board policy too, for
That'd be great.
our agenda.
Yeah. My only question would be about the accounts payable, because I know I typically have some questions about the specific amounts, and I don't know if being on a consent agenda, I mean, I know we could pull it out, but if being on a consent agenda might send a message that we're just
But you
rubber
could not put
that
that in there. You could keep that an agenda item.
That would be my thinking, is to the other stuff, but keep the accounts payable vouchers as an actual individual action item.
Yeah.
And you can still have discussion on it.
I know.
You can still ask your questions.
Yeah.
And if for some reason one of you maybe want to vote for the accounts payable, then you would pull it from the consent and it would be separate vote.
But you can set the agenda as needed.
Yeah. What do the others think?
From what I heard from talking to other people on school boards, they all have their consent agenda.
I guess my question is, you can set the agenda, that means the president, Rich, and the superintendent set the agenda? Because I don't usually get to set the agenda.
So
Sometimes I get to ask that something be on the agenda,
the
but,
president, yes, the president sets the agenda with myself and Krista. Like I said, we got a lot of good things going here. I just wanted to put it out there. We don't have to make a decision. We're not making a decision.
Yeah, we're not making a decision, so we can decide whether or not we
I just
want
wanted
to
you
do it or not.
Just consider it for the future as.
Our meetings are so efficient anyway, that I don't know if it's really going to save much time, you know?
I agree.
It'll save 4 minutes.
I guess another question I would have is, if we do move to the consent agenda, we would be sent that ahead of time,
Right.
and we could request things to be pulled off of it before the
Yeah.
meeting. Because sometimes in the meeting, it gets very hard to sort of interject and say, oh, no.
Well, we see that ahead of time. It's in when the board packet comes out, you see all that stuff.
Right.
And it's not, it's.
But the accounts payable vouchers, you have to go into Google
Right.
Drive to the
Right.
individual receipts and stuff.
And we really have pushed hard over my years here of transparency. So it's not that, it's that there are some agenda items every time that we just go through them really quickly. So if you wanted to, you could do that. Doesn't mean you have to. It's something that has been around and is no longer, so.
But the main incentive is to save time, basically. That's kind of the main, usually those things don't take that much time anyway, so whatever, we could decide and we'll vote on it next time. Okay, other comments, questions? No? Okay. Future action, a presentation from the student trip to Europe over spring break, and then dates of upcoming meetings, August 5th. And actually, we're going to have a June 26th special meeting on the budget, but then August 5th and August 19th, starting at 6 p.m. And unless there's anything else, I'll take, before you do the adjourn, hang around because there's something special coming up. Go ahead.
Yes, I do move we adjourn, but I don't want people to leave.
Yeah, okay. Who would like to second that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Okay, we got some signatures here. Okay, this is just me, this is just me. Some of these are for everybody, and some are just for you guys.
Okay.